Hey guys, welcome to my Queen Black Dragon guide. This guide will be focused on those of you who aren't maxed, you don't have huge combat stats or any of that, but you are looking to kill QBD effectively and make money, and I will show you how to do that. But before we get into the guide, I would like to make a statement that if you are trying QBD for the first time, you will die. I mean, there's no other way around it. QBD is one of the hardest bosses in the game, and you will die if it's your first try. It'll take you some time to do QBD, so don't give up when you die the first time, even after watching a guide. You will die the first few times, and you may think it's not worth it, but after you keep practicing and keep doing it, you will get it down to the point where it's easy and you make tons of money and you don't use very many supplies. So before you give up on yourself because you died, which will happen, just keep going and remember that, because you will get it down eventually and it takes time. So that's enough of my pep talk. Now let's go out and kill this thing. Alright, next off we're going to go over some of the gear setups. Before we go over any gear, I highly recommend using melee. Any of the other options, while they are safer and you will take less damage, you will also do a heck of a lot less damage, so in the end it's not worth it. For me, I prefer to use Void, and since I don't have super anti-fires, I use an anti-dragon shield. Yes, you can do QBD without super antis. I use a rapier. You can substitute that with any one-handed weapon. She's weak to nothing, so it doesn't matter. As for boots, ring, cape, amulet, obviously a fury would be better than a glory, but I don't have one, and I'm not going to buy one. Cape, I use Soul Wars cape because it has good defense, but Takar Cal or Fire cape would be good too. Bandos boots are the best, but you can use any like Glaven, no they're not Glaven, Steadfast, Dragon boots, anything like that. I use Ring of Wealth because I don't have anything else but a Ring of Life, or no, don't use a Ring of Life because you will get tallied. Use a Berserker ring or Onyx ring eye or whatever you want. As for some substitutions to Void, you can use Bandos, any Barrows gear, but for me, I prefer to use Void even though it has bad defense and low LP boost. I use it because it has a 15% melee damage increase if you're wearing 4 items, which I am. But it's all up to you, whatever you have. Either way, the gear setup doesn't make a huge difference. It's what you do with your gear, what technique you use. So this is not a huge part, but like I said before, don't use range or mage because for some reason QBD has really high defense against those. The QBD has a bunch of attacks that you will encounter throughout the fight. The first off is its basic melee attack, which is a bite motion, and its max hit is around 1500. I recommend using Protect from Melee or Soul Split if you have it during the first few waves because it does do a lot of damage, and for some reason the Protection Prayer seems to do more protection against this attack. The next basic QBD attack is its Swipe attack, which is obviously a range attack. Its max hit is around 700, but it does vary. And it is pretty accurate, although it usually hits around the 300 to 200 range. It rarely gets above that. But it is very good for using resonance against, since it is accurate if you do have a shield. But if you have Soul Split, then use that, and I still recommend praying melee over it. But because of that, it is very good, like I said before, to use resonance on to heal up. So like all dragons, the QBD has a standard Dragonfire attack. Only difference is hers is a heck of a lot more powerful. So obviously you're going to want to have an anti-fire and a shield, anti-dragon shield or Dragonfire shield, or super anti-fires. They both work just the same. If you don't have it, it'll easily hit over 1,000, but without it, it'll hit around a 400. You can't completely, there's nothing you can do to completely get rid of the damage. Just gonna have to tank it, but since it doesn't hit very high, that shouldn't be a problem throughout the fight. Another Dragonfire attack that the QBD has is a Firewall. This is one of the most irritating attacks she has. She'll do 1 Firewall on the first wave, 2 on the second, and 3 on the third and fourth. And what it is basically a big wall of fire, and you have to go through the one square that is open. Or if sometimes you can run through it like I just did there. but in other times you will only take 1 damage. Its max hit is 750 times 2 or 1500 times 2 if no anti-fire potions or anything is used. So definitely use anti-fire potions again, obviously, because that it can be pretty damaging. So yes, one of the most irritating attacks, but it's not too big of a deal. The next QBD attacks that we have don't actually come from the QBD itself. They come from summoning other creatures, and this first one is the Tortured Souls. They're like these purple dudes, and they will show up in your chat box saying that the Queen Black Dragon stuff summons one of her captured Tortured Souls, and then they will talk. They will say a word, and when they say their phrase, which differs every time, you need to run through the soul itself, so that you can avoid its attack, which has no class and hits 900 to 1100 every time. And then once you run its own attack into the soul, it will damage the soul instead of damaging you, and then if the soul hasn't died already, it will stay around and melee you, but the melee attacks are very inaccurate and don't do much damage. They do like 50 damage, so it's nothing to worry about. The next thing the QBD summons is the Grot Worms, which are just like the ones found outside of the Queen Black Dragon's arena in the Grot Worm Cave. They're the giant Grot Worms, and they attack with a mage attack unless you get close to them, which for the most part you won't be close to them, so you shouldn't worry about it. Now the QBD coughs these worms up after every wave, and she will continue to cough them up until you click on the artifact. So obviously you want to push the artifact as soon as possible. After waves 2 during waves 3 and 4, I recommend praying mage if you don't have soul split, because there's going to be so many of them, you'll take a decent amount of damage from them, and the QBD doesn't use its melee attack too often, so it's definitely worth it. But they're not anything that you should worry about too much, because you're just going to have to eat and tank them. They're good for resonance, but other than that, just ignore them, eat up, don't let them lower your LP too much, and keep Pray Mage on during waves 3 and 4. The QBD's most powerful attack is the Super Hot Flames, which is a very powerful form of Dragon Fire, and this will show up in your chat box saying the Queen Black Dragon has gathered enough energy to produce Super Hot Flames, and you'll need to watch for that, because there's no other sign to see it coming other than when she starts to do it. They can hit almost 6,000 damage over about 4 seconds if you stand in the middle of the arena, but if you run off to the side, it will be 450 damage times 3, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to tank that. So it is pretty deadly, but always run to the side when she does this, because if not, you will most likely get KO'd, because you'll get hit for 6,000 damage pretty quickly, and Wearing Void, you won't be able to sustain that. So always run to the side when you see this coming, and then run back and attack the queen after she is done doing the Super Hot Flames, so that you can kill her quickly. Along with all of her attacks, the Queen Black Dragon also has a bunch of special abilities. The first one is Armor Change, where she becomes weaker to mage or melee and more powerful against the other type. So for example, this blue version here, as you can see on the screen, she becomes weaker to melee and more powerful against mage. This is what you want to hope to get, as opposed to the other Armor Change, where she becomes a discolored version of her original look, and she becomes more powerful against melee and weaker to mage. There's really nothing you can do about it. You just gotta deal with what you get. Hope you get the blue version, but if you don't, it doesn't make too big of a deal. It shouldn't influence the fight too much, but if you do get the blue armor change, then use your thresholds and ultimates so you can deal a lot of damage. The next ability is the Siphoning ability, and what this does is she heals off the Tortured Souls by damaging them, which heals her. She heals 200 life points for every 100 damage the souls take. So for this reason, the lower LP you can get the souls, the better. However, I don't recommend killing them with this setup, because you need to get the kill done as quickly as possible, This can be a bit of a problem. It's a little bit irritating, especially when you're about to kill her and there's like 8 souls and she heals like 2k life points in the last wave. But just continue doing your damage to try to make up for the damage that she heals herself too. Yeah. By far the most dangerous special ability she has is the time stop ability, where she will summon one tortured soul, which will start talking and saying kill me now, all that good stuff, and it will spawn in one of the 2 corners. And what happens here is it has a timer, which is like 10 seconds or so, or 15 or something, where you have to kill the soul or else it will freeze time. You will not be able to eat or pray or do anything during this time, but the QBD will still be able to attack you. So it is very easy to die if you don't kill it. So whenever this shows up, stop what you're doing and kill it as quickly as possible. She will do this along with other attacks such as Fire Wave or Extremely Hot Flames, so it is very dangerous. So kill it as quickly as possible, and just tank whatever other attacks there are, because the time freeze is more dangerous than all of them, and you don't want to die, obviously. So definitely use caution when you see this ability. The Queen Black Dragon is fought in phases, and each phase gets more dangerous than the one before it. The first phase is the easiest one, obviously, where she attacks with the range and melee. There's no Grotworms or Tortured Souls, and there's only one Fire Wave, and there's none of the special abilities like Time Stop or Armor Change or any of that stuff. So the easiest one, use your Threshold and Ultimate offense abilities, and you can take care of this wave pretty easy without needing any or too much food. The second phase is a little bit harder, but you still shouldn't be eating too much in this wave. The only difference is you will have a few Grotworms depending on how quickly you activated the first artifact in the first wave. There's only going to be 1 Tortured Soul and 2 Fire Waves, and the Armor Change does happen periodically, but there is no Super Hot Flames or Time Stop yet. That will come later in the fight, obviously. So in this wave, you can go ahead and use your offense ultimates and thresholds if you want, but if you're running low on food, it may be wise to use Rejuvenate or Resonance or any of the healing abilities, so that you can save your food later in the fight when there's more things attacking you and you're taking more damage. By the time you get to the third wave, you'll start eating a bit more. The only difference is she attacks with range and melee like always, but now there's 3 to 4 Grotworms, and I recommend praying Mage if you don't have Soul Split. There will be 2 Tortured Souls, which can do up to 2k damage if you don't do them right. There will be 3 Fire Waves, and the armor still changes, but there's still no Super Hot Flames or Time Stop. So by here you might be a little bit more careful. You might want to use more defense abilities, or if you're not taking much damage, go ahead and use your offense abilities so you can get to the 4th wave as quickly as possible. Phase 4 is obviously the hardest wave, and by now you have everything. You'll have a bunch of Grotworms, you'll still have the range and melee attacks, you'll have the Time Stop, you'll still have 3 Fire Waves, you'll have 4 Tortured Souls, which you won't be able to fully avoid. I'll show you how to do those later in this guide. So by far the most dangerous wave. In this wave, I recommend keeping your LP high, preferably over 5,000. And then you will need to eat up if you see Super Hot Flames or Time Stop or the Tortured Souls coming, because you can get one hit by that time. So keep your LP high and do as much damage as possible to finish the fight, and then once you've done that, you're done and you get to go loot the chest. So now that you know all the attacks and all that good stuff, it's time for the fight. Starting off, you're just going to want to home teleport serum, set up your action bar like I'm doing here. You can copy my action bar, or you can do it however you want depending on which weapons you're using and all that good stuff. As you can see, I have a terror bird, and I do have 68 summoning. I can use a tortoise, but I found I can do it just fine with the terror bird, and since I have like 500 terror bird pouches in my bank, that's easier. If you have, I think it's 55 or 50 agility, you can climb down this place, and it's a heck of a lot faster than running all the way through the dungeon. And you cannot use a boost to get up to that level. Make sure your left click is set on Take BOB if you're using a Beast of Burden, or it's set on your special attack if you're using a combat familiar. and go in. You won't need to pot up before you go in because there's a nice long cut scene, as you can see right here, where she wakes up. At this point, you can start potting up, and then run over by the Queen Black Dragon, and make sure you have your quick prayers on. Make sure you have them set to pray melee and piety or turmoil and soul split, depending on what you have. And now the fight has begun. As you can see, wave 1 is pretty easy. There's not too much to worry about. As you can even see, I'm not even doing a ton of damage, but it's still fine because you're not taking very much damage. I like to use resonance after I get hit for the first dragon fire to try to heal back up. So you can see the range attacks are pretty accurate. And make sure you use assault no matter which weapon you're using, because assault is better than a lot of the ultimates, and it's pretty dang deadly. And then depending on how your LP is, you can either use Berserk, or like I just did, or you can use Rejuvenate. If your LP is low, use Rejuvenate, and if it's high, then go ahead and use Berserk. You can hit lots of 3Ks or 6Ks or whatever, depending on how high your or how powerful your weapon is. And then once you're done, go ahead and click the artifact in the middle as quickly as possible, and she should only spawn 1 Grotworm. And now here's the soul. You can see it talks. I run through it and it gets hit. Whenever the fire wave comes, I like to run right by the first artifact, like as you can see I did there, because one of the openings is there, and that's the easiest one to get to. As you can see, she does it again. And you don't always have to run through or run to the opening. Sometimes you can run through the fire wave, and sometimes it's just better to just get hit once. There's another tortured soul, and you can see I screwed it up there. But it's all good because we have plenty of food. So yeah, this is just like the first wave. It's pretty easy. You just keep doing as much damage as you can. Use resonance when you can, because it really helps you. That's only if you have a shield, obviously. And one of the problems I've found is that when you're doing assault and a soul pops up, it can be pretty hard to get to walk through the soul and avoid its attack while assault's going on. So if you see that happen, you might just want to eat up or just spam click on the other side of the soul, and you may be able to get through. There's one more soul. And the second artifact is a bit farther away, and you'll see that in just a second. It's all the way south, so run there as quickly as possible and turn on Prey Mage as soon as you can. But make sure you touch the artifact as soon as possible, and then get off the platform or you will be hit for 1500 damage, and obviously you don't want that to happen. You can see here the opening on the fire wave is right by the first artifact, so that's why I always like to run there. And then here, instead of running all the way to the other side of the arena, I just run through it and take the damage. It's only 750 damage. Here she changes to the blue form, which is always nice because you can do extra damage. I got lucky. And here, you got 2 souls. You can run through one of them and not do that like I just did there. I waited a bit too long. But usually, even if you screw up the souls a few times, you can still survive if you do everything else right. You can see by praying mage I'm taking a bit of damage from the melee attacks, but I would be taking a lot more if I had prayed mage. And you can also use resonance when the melee attacks come. There is how you do these souls the right way. It will one-hit the soul that you decide to run through if you do it right. And then you just want to finish this wave as quickly as possible. And there you can now touch the last artifact. Once again, touch it as quickly as possible and start to safe up for the next wave. I like to get up close to full LP and make sure your prayer isn't low either. Now you can see she starts to siphon. It's a pain in the butt, but you just got to deal with it. There's the time stop attack, like I showed you earlier. As you can see, if you don't use a basic ability on the soul first, and then you try to use or if you don't use an auto ability on the soul first, and then you try to use a basic ability, you will run back and attack the queen. So be careful of that, because you can lose valuable time that way. And now you just gotta hope for the best. Some kills are harder than others. Here's the hot flames. You run off to the side and you get hit for only 450 damage times 3. But QBD is never a guaranteed kill, no matter how high level you are, because and there you can see how damaging the super hot flames can be. But some kills are harder than others, so you may not always survive. And other kills will be easy. You use like 5 sharks. This is pretty much a pretty easy kill for me. I got lucky. And yeah, now you just hope for the best. Keep your LP high. Oh, and here's the souls. She summons 4 souls, and there's nothing you can do about that. What I like to do is try to run into the big pile of grot worms and eat up, because the attack can damage the grot worms, but it's not always 100%. As you can see here, I'm getting I've took a ton of damage from the flames, and I'm trying to kill the soul so that I don't get time stopped, and I did it just in time. I'm starting to run out of sharks, but it's okay because I have a terror bird. And there we go, there's a kill. And now you want to run and touch this last thing here. If you have a grotworms task, you can wait for it to cough out a ton of grotworms, and you can like get your slayer task done in 1 kill. It's pretty easy. And then now you just run down here and you get your loot. I think I get pretty bad loot here, but when you loot the reward chest, you can choose to bank all, take all, or abandon all, which would be stupid, obviously. And then now you probably want to telly out and re-gear. I don't think you'd want to do 2 kills. And so I like to telly to Lumbridge or wherever to recharge my prayer, and then do the kill again. So that is all a QBD kill is. Remember that it takes lots of practice and time, but you will get it down and you will make good money once you figure it out. So now for the best part, why to kill a QBD. Most people kill QBD for the loot, that's why I do it. The 3 best drops you can see here are the Dragon Kite Shield, the Draconic Visage, and the Dragonbone Upgrade Kit. The Visage and the Upgrade Kit both are about a 1 in 100 drop rate, whereas the Dragon Kite Shield is about 1 in 200, and that's all based on luck. There's no guarantee, but you will get them if you stay persistent and you keep doing it. And you can get about 2.5 mil to 3 mil on the Visage and Upgrade Kit, and about 4 mil to 3 mil on the D-Kite, depending on current GE prices. So they're pretty nice loots if you get one. And so that is the main reason why people kill QBD. But there's also some smaller drops that make up the Royal Crossbow, such as the Royal Bolt Stabilizer, the Torsion Spring, the Frame, and the Royal Sight. And these can all be sold for about 1 mil to 1.5 mil a piece, and their drop rate is like 1 in 10. It's really low. It's 1 in 50 for each piece. And when you combine all the rare drops together, the chance of getting a good QBD loot is 1 in 10. And about every other kill is going to be average 300k. With like Runite ores and grimy Torstals and magic seeds and all that good stuff. So that's why QBD is so good, because you're gonna make lots of money. This guide is designed for people to get like 8 to 10 minute kills, and that's what I do, and I still make like 2 mil an hour. And lots of people can get 3 to 4 minute kills, and I think this method can go up to 4 mil an hour. So it's like amazing money. You don't need a team, you don't need to crash anybody, and that's why I recommend doing QBD. That pretty much wraps up this guide. I hope it helped you guys out, and I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully you guys will get some good QBD kills. Go out there and get some good loot, and keep practicing, get better at it. Remember to not get down on yourself the first time you die, and don't get down on yourself after you've killed it a few times and you do die, because it will happen. But you'll get used to it, and you'll get better. And in the end, you'll make a lot of money, and you'll be glad you did it. So if it helped you out, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if it didn't help you out, let me know what I can do to help make it better. And other than that, remember to subscribe to my channel if you want more videos. And I'll see you guys later.